He posted all over social media and told everybody that the DNA test came back and that the kids were not his.
Mr. Morris doesn't seem like a fan of settling family matters indoors, considering how fast he took off to social media to inform his online friends that he's allegedly not the twins' father. But judging from Ms. Thorpe's reaction, she doesn't seem fazed by the situation, not even a little bit. Guess we will see if she's meant to be fazed by it, or if her reaction to the situation is valid.
Certain facts come to light make you believe that you fathered one of Ms. Thorpe's twins and not the other. You claim a botched home DNA test separated you from your daughter London, and you intend to rectify that issue today. Is that correct?
Mr. Morris claims he believes he fathered one of Ms. Thorpe's twins and not the other with a complicated DNA test situation, while Ms. Thorpe claims Mr. Morris's claim is ridiculous because she's certain he fathered both girls as opposed to his claim. Yeah, Mr. Morris's claim is ridiculous, but as usual, biology can be tricky.
Both twins?
Yes, Your Honor.
Explain.
I was in another guy's time that me and Antoine was talking, but the time matched up to Antoine being the father of both of my kids. Before anything, we were friends, so I don't even understand why he's even putting me through this.
Women are always trying to get their lick back in the worst possible ways because the tit for tat never ends well, especially for women because fingers won't be pointed at these men. Ms. Thorpe's tit for tat might have led to these twins or maybe not, but it's certain Mr. Morris doesn't believe he fathered both twins.
I went to the doctor for just a regular checkup. She came in and she told me that I was pregnant. He was very happy. It seemed like he was very happy about the situation.
From a regular checkup turned into pregnancy to Ms. Thorpe being hungry every day, and Mr. Morris had to feed her. Well, who should if he didn't? Not anyone present in court today. Mr. Morris was excited about the pregnancy and even the birth of the twins, but something seemed to have changed along the line.
And do you get doubt?
Honestly, just one day I was in a local drugstore and out of the blue, I know it sounds crazy, but this DNA test was just sticking out. And like everything else was just like black. I'm like, what the?
Curiosity, they say, kills the cat. Mr. Morris's curiosity got the best of him to the point he purchased the DNA test kit to not knowing the twin he swabbed that led to his botched DNA test. Yeah, Mr. Morris isn't wrong for wanting to know if those are truly his kids, but his reason for doubt sounds funny as his botched DNA testing.
So what happens after he gets these results back? He comes to you and tells you he did it?
No, Your Honor, I was at work at the time. He actually texted me and told me that
It's bad enough that Mr. Morris' DNA testing was a failed one, but Mr. Morris took it a step further by telling the public that the twins aren't his and making Miss Thorpe out to be the bad guy. Mr. Morris couldn't even give Ms. Thorpe the chance to respond to the message knowing he went behind her back to do a botched DNA test. Seems like Mr. Morris promised his neighborhood girlfriend he was going to get freedom at all costs, and that was his chance.
The results, I got a response that was like she knew. She had just said, when I said, I got a test done on the twins, they are not mine. And her response was, oh.
Oh!
Oh? Like, oh? Okay, Ms. Thorpe, guess there's another man in the picture. Ms. Thorpe says she responded that way because she was at work. But to be honest, no response was better than Ms. Thorpe's oh response. It doesn't make Mr. Morris right for throwing it on social media, but now there's actual grounds for doubt in Mr. Morris's mind.
I got sent a picture of my youngest daughter now. It was side by side with London. I feel like they look just alike. They're the same age.
Oh, you had two women pregnant at the same time?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Morris impregnated two women at the same time? That's fascinating. As highlighted by the judge, the break wasn't so much of a break since they were still kicking it behind closed doors. Mr. Morris says his youngest daughter looks just like one of the twins and that makes him think he's the father of that particular twin. That's a weird logic, even though a man fathering one twin is possible.
They call you daddy?
No.
They're four.
They call me Uncle Twan.
Uncle Twan?
Yes.
Boy, you about crazy. You just got too much going on. You done gone through all this only for the children. Now call you Uncle Twan?
Uncle Twan? Holy Mary, Mother of Christ. Uncle Twan when Mr. Morris could possibly be the father of the twins. Ms. Thorpe also telling the twins Mr. Morris isn't their daddy adds salt to the already festering wound, and she ruins it all saying she feels like Mr. Morris is their father. A feeling? Who? Let's see if Uncle Twan will be able to redeem himself back to being called daddy, or it will forever stay like that.
In the case of Morris versus Thorpe, London, Morris, Mr. Morris, you are not the father.
Fathers cheat, they can easily get away with it, but when mothers cheat, it's a different ballgame because that road only leads to paternity court, just like in this Miss Williams case.
5 years ago, the defendant, who you believed was your father, revealed a shocking family secret, that your mother cheated, and you are not his daughter. You and your sister are in court to prove him wrong. Is that correct?
Ms. Williams claims she has always known Mr. Scales to be her father up until 5 years ago when she was told that Mr. Scales might not be her father. That must have hurt. Anyway, Mr. Scales claims he knows Ms. Williams' biological father because her mother cheated on him, and that was what led to her pregnancy back then. Ms. Williams' sister is right beside her for moral support and probably to know her own fate too.
1983, we had an away game in Pensacola, and I took Miss Williams with me, and we checked into a hotel, and I went to bed early because I worked that day and it was a Friday. So about 2 o'clock in the morning, I wake up and Miss Williams is no longer in the room.
Mr. Scales says Ms. Williams' mother being gone for an hour or two definitely meant she was out with another guy after the game. Mr. Scales tried to keep that a secret for decades, but at 27 years old, Ms. Williams indirectly discovered the long-buried secret through her mother. Mr. Scales really didn't want it to be the children's business, but maybe Ms. Williams felt she had nothing to hide.
If this was something that was so important to you, so weighed in on your heart, this is something that you should have said, you know, right when she was born or right when you found my mom said, hey, we're pregnant again.
The reason I didn't say anything is because I wanted to give this child a gift.
Maybe these sisters have the right to be pissed that Mr. Scales' choice of timing to let the secret out wasn't the best, but you can blame a man for wanting to know for sure. If the cheating did happen, Miss Williams' mother should be the one getting the blame for confusing these ladies and Mr. Scales.
This child had nothing to do with her mother leaving that room that night. So I didn't want her to suffer for the effects and the ramifications and repercussions of her mother's action.
Why would you sign my birth certificate if you felt like you were not my biological father?
I never signed your birth certificate, Elisa.
Mr. Scales claims he was listed as the father on Miss Williams' birth certificate because he knows for sure that he didn't sign it. Miss Williams argues that she looks just like Mr. Scales, which may be true, but only the DNA test result can prove if that's her father or otherwise. And what's with Mr. Scales saying mission accomplished? What mission are we talking about here?
Mission accomplished.
Mr. Scales.
Wow, Mr.
Yes.
Scales.
Let me show y'all something and tell y'all something. I do what I want to do.
Exactly.
Right,
That's the
of
problem.
Listen, as harsh as Mr. Scales is in this moment, and I do believe his delivery is harsh.
Oh, that mission was indeed accomplished by Mr. Scales until Ms. Williams turned 27 and the accomplished mission went down the drain. Ms. Williams and her sister are of the opinion that Mr. Scales could have done this from the start and not embark on any mission. Well, this seems like a double-edged sword. Both parties seem to be right and wrong at the same time.
And whether you were clear with their mother, I have doubts as it relates to Elisa.
I wasn't clear because I didn't want to cause any commotion or dissension. I wanted everything to go as if it was normal.
Mr. Scales wanted the family to be normal, hence his reason for letting things be the way they were instead of causing a commotion from an early stage, but Ms. Williams' sister argued that saying nothing was normal in their house as there was always some kind of tension in the house. So, who's telling the truth? It would be much better to hear from the horse's mouth at this point.
Mr. Scales has any reason to doubt that Elisa is his biological daughter.
There's no reason at all, Your Honor. If he was gonna doubt a child, he should doubt 100. When I had the affair with the person in question,
Whew. The older Williams sister was here to support her younger sister, but she's the one catching stray bullets concerning her paternity. Now that's heartbreaking. Miss Williams says she did have an affair with a man Mr. Scales suspects her of having an affair with, but it wasn't that night. The Williams sisters seem to have gotten their boldness from their mother, though.
that my stepfather was my dad. And hearing people say to me, that's not your daddy. Your daddy lives in Victoria. And when I had gone to Port Lavaca to spend 2 weeks with my cousin for the summer, and my aunt took me up to this man.
Ms. Williams says she wouldn't dare put her girls through the same devastating experience she went through with trying to guess who her father is. And there's only one way to find out if she's been genuine about that claim. Side note, again, no one can blame Mr. Scales for wanting to know. He has the right to want to know even if Ms. Williams is right.
Elisa Williams. Mr. Scale, you are her father.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
Men come to paternity many times to say they have a medical condition that wouldn't allow them to reproduce or makes them sterile, which some are true, some are not true, and some end up being the father through a miracle. However, a woman saying she can't have kids on paternity court is not common at all, which makes Mr. Ball and Ms. Cox's case unique.
You say that you were told by the defendant, Ms. Cox, that she could not get pregnant, and now she's claiming you fathered her daughter.
True, Your Honor.
Mr. Ball being told prior by Ms. Cos that she doesn't want kids probably made him think he's free to dunk in her as much as he wanted, but things turned out differently when Ms. Cox announced she was pregnant. Mr. Ball is here to counter that he's the father, regardless if she was lying of telling the truth. Mrs. Cox doesn't have much to say other than to prove Mr. Ball is the father of her child and counter-suing him for an unpaid loan.
Morning, noon, night, we would talk every day, and maybe within the last 90 days of me, serving my time, I was getting letters from her best friend stating to me that she was sleeping with other men, going out with other men, and that everything wasn't, what I was being told.
It's still a mystery where folks get best friends that air them out without batting an eye. Mrs. Cox's best friend allegedly told Mr. Ball about all of Ms. Cox's escapades while he was locked up. Mr. Ball, still being the cool dude, decided to have a chat with one of the men in question, but it's like it didn't end on a good note.
Wait, were you in a relationship with another man?
We was in a physical relationship. It wasn't like we weren't together, nothing
So
like
it was
that.
a sexual relationship.
And he knew about this.
Oh, we were missing out on a lot of information earlier. The best friend is the mother of one of Mr. Ball's kids. The incarcerated man has women falling to his left and right sides. That's wonderful. Mr. Ball says the best friend claimed she wanted to have nothing to do with it as she was just looking out for him. Well, her actions wasn't just about looking out for Mr. Ball. It seems she was just trying to win him over to his side, like Miss Cox mentioned. It's that simple.
Yes, I did.
What?
Yes,
I
I
was with
did.
you every second
well,
of the day.
you were every second?
I was
so
with you every
you forgot
second
about
of
the
the day.
time
You
where I
were
dropped you off
using
at your
my car,
mom's? You forgot about the time I dropped you off at your mom's house and we got into that big incident where I dropped you off at your mom's house?
Seems like the other guy really did have Miss Cox in a chokehold, while Mr. Ball was in jail, and even after he got out. Miss Cox isn't even denying anything so serious. It looks like Miss Cox is still in love with the other guy as they are present in paternity court. Mr. Ball seems to have lost in his own game.
And I pull up a picture, not one picture, but multiple pictures.
Hanging out with the guy. He knew about the guy.
Of her, and not only just that guy, another guy.
No,
and another guy. And I asked her about it.
So let me ask you this: what was in the picture?
Her arms around guys, kissing around guys.
No, it
and
wasn't
I'm
no
asking
pictures
her.
like that.
If only we could see the face of this best friend in question. This best friend went from betraying her friend, Mrs. Cox, sleeping with Mr. Ball and his cousin, to her still trying to win Mr. Ball over to her side by any means possible. Chess, the best friend, fell in love with Mr. Ball the same way Ms. Cox fell in love with the other guy. However, these folks could have just ended this relationship instead of dealing with this mess.
She also made sure that she didn't tell me anything about her being pregnant until after the fact of me dropping her off to
know I
work.
was pregnant.
She told me that before I dropped her off,
He
when I
stopped
dropped her
he
off, I
stopped at
turned
the
the corner.
pharmacy.
It's hard to get a reasonable sentence out of these two people at this point. Mr. Ball has so much to say about Miss Cox and the pregnancy. Miss Cox also has so much to put out concerning the situation, but these two aren't even listening to each other or allowing one another to talk, and we, the audience, are paying for it because our ears are bleeding from this.
When it came down to signing the birth certificate, he wouldn't, and he never did. He would not sign the birth certificate because he said he wanted to make it hard for me with child support.
Why would I tell you I wanted to make it hard for you?
And I
when
offered
I'm there,
I'm there,
but I want to make it hard for you, but yet I'm there.
I offered him a DNA test in the hospital. He didn't want it. He didn't want it.
Ms. Cox says she had offered a DNA test to Mr. Ball a couple of times since he wouldn't sign the birth certificate, but he's always pushing it back, claiming he doesn't need it. Mr. Ball's side of the story remains that there may be other potential fathers from the men Ms. Cox was kicking it with. Mr. Ball's doubt is valid because Ms. Cox has even turned on the button in his head that Mr. Ball may not be the father.
Stated that I couldn't get away with it with a black girl. I've had plenty of black girls.
No, he has not.
Plenty.
No, he has not.
I have had.
Oh, shut it, Mr. Ball. Whether it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago, the intimacy did happen recently and there's still a paternity issue on ground. These two need to pick their battles as to if they want to be together or not. But as for the innocent child caught up in all of these, let's get to the results.
Mr. Ball, you are her father.
Loving can hurt sometimes, but it hurts more if the person one is showing the love to is constantly dragging it through the mud like a piece of filth. Ms. Whitman may have to do more than just determining her child's biological father to make her relationship work.
The man you claim you love is standing in our courtroom hallway.
Yes, Your Honor.
But you confess you cheated on him with the defendant.
That's right, Your
Mr.
Honor.
Anderson. So today you're here to determine the paternity of your 1-month-old daughter, Michaela, in hope of saving your relationship.
Ms. Whitman's love interest is pacing outside the courtroom, probably wondering why he fell in love with Ms. Whitman, who doesn't seem to deserve to, as Ms. Whitman claims she's here to determine who her baby daddy is. Looks like even Ms. Whitman herself doesn't know the answer if her child asks her. And there's Mr. Anderson, who is here to out Ms. Whitman and her messy affairs, alongside proving he's not the biological father of Ms. Whitman's child.
You were in a relationship with Mr. Matt.
Yes, we were in a relationship.
Then you ended up cheating on him with Mr. Anderson.
That's right, Your Honor.
So now explain.
Ms. Whitman was caught up in the middle of two men, but according to her explanation, it wasn't intentional. One thing led to another, and the situation became more serious than Ms. Whitman thought it could be. From boyfriend and girlfriend on one side to friends with benefits on the other side, that's a little bit off the mark, but okay.
I have doubts because I know she was sleeping with other men besides me.
Specifically, how do you know that?
Because I've seen them up there, Your Honor.
Up where?
Me, for
No,
one.
I need details. This is court. I need details. I need facts.
Sleeping with two different men might be acceptable, even though it has its own consequences, but two cousins? Ms. Whitman must be really interested in having a child from Mr. Anderson's lineage. Mr. Anderson's doubts stem from Ms. Whitman allegedly giving the entire neighborhood a taste of her juice.
His cousin never stayed at my house, period.
Was he at your house?
He came there.
Did you sleep with him?
No, I did not. His cousin liked me, but we never slept together. He bought me a bed when I first
I'm not
moved to
talking
my
about that.
apartment.
I'm not.
There's another cousin? Oh, Ms. Whitman is just showing off at this point. Every man in the neighborhood seems to like Ms. Whitman. Now it would get anyone wondering if they genuinely like Ms. Whitman or they were just there to have a taste of the juice Ms. Whitman was willing to share. Your guess is as good as mine.
With you at the time the child was conceived?
Yes.
Did you have any idea that she was sleeping with other people?
I kind of had suspicions because of our relationship. It was a long distance relationship.
Ms. Whitman's love interest seems like he's sitting this one out. Mr. Mapson claims he didn't participate in the pregnancy or the birth of the child because he didn't want to involve himself in the messy situation Ms. Whitman had caused for everyone involved. That's fair, but Mr. Mapson may be a possibility too.
Facebook, telephone,
Yeah, I
and
did.
he stopped answering the phone for me, Mr.
The
Mapson.
reason I blocked her off because of the stuff she was doing on Facebook. She was, you know what I'm saying, just out there just saying, this is my baby daddy, knowing she been with other
I've
people.
never put on
You know what
Facebook
I'm saying?
that you're my baby daddy.
People will ask me, even my baby mama, my girl I'm with.
Oh, Ms. Whitman doesn't want to pay half of the money for the DNA tests on both sides, but she willingly was halfway involved in the activity that led to the pregnancy with both men. Ms. Whitman should have thought of that before messing around with multiple men. Ms. Whitman says she went through the pregnancy alone, which is sad, but it can't be ignored that she brought it on herself. No man wanted to participate when they weren't sure they were the daddy.
Have, Mr. Mapson. So
Yes.
now that she's here,
I went to see the baby, and she was pretty. She was a beautiful baby. So I showed her around to my family, even called my kids, asked them what they think about her, and they all said, we believe it's yours. She kind of looked like my youngest son.
Mr. Mapson may not have been available during the pregnancy and birth of the child, but he's made a bond with her, and he's willing to work on the relationship he has with Ms. Whitman if the child is his. Ms. Whitman may have to start praying to the Lord in this courtroom that the DNA test results favors her relationship. If it's on Mr. Anderson, oh well.
because this situation really bothers you.
This situation has affected my life, you know. My baby mama texting her all the time, talking about this situation. Well, anyway, we get into it. She called police, told me I had to get my stuff, get out. You know, I got on now. After that happened, another man there. She done kicked me out. I done spent money. Is that right now?
And now Mr. Anderson's relationship is destroyed, Ms. Whitman.
Oh, that's not a fair trade. Mr. Anderson's relationship was destroyed due to his situation with Ms. Whitman, but Ms. Whitman gets to have her loving relationship if the result comes back positive for Mr. Mapson. Oh, the stakes are high here, and it's time to ease the tension.
Mr. Mapson, you are her father.
It's all good when parents come on paternity court to know who the biological father is while the child is still young and may not be able to remember in a few years to come, but the decades-long secrets being revealed hurts the most, and Miss St. James's case is an example of one of these decades-long paternity cases.
James, you claim for the first 33 years of your life, you were a daddy's girl, from early childhood all the way through your dad walking you down the aisle.
Miss St. James's entire childhood and even some part of her adulthood seems to be a lie as the man who walked her down the aisle, and she is always known as her father, says he's not her biological father after 33 years. Mr. Esau doesn't feel any remorse as stands firmly on his decision that Miss St. James is not his daughter, and he has always known, and the DNA test result will prove him right.
What happened 6 months ago?
My dad a letter right before Christmas, a couple weeks before Christmas, just telling him how I felt about him not being in his grandchildren's lives. And
while Miss St. James was looking forward to being on a better page with her supposed father, she received a bombshell letter where Mr. Esau claims he's not her biological father. Mr. Esau says that was not how it meant, but does it matter? The cat has already been let out of the bag, so the way it came out really doesn't matter, sir.
That I've always wanted to talk to her about and tell her, you know, and it just never was the right time.
Is it your testimony that for 33 years you have known that Miss St. James was not your biological daughter?
Correct.
Mr. Esau reaffirms that he has always known Ms. St. James wasn't his biological daughter, but there was never a good time to let it out. That's possible, but Ms. St. James doesn't agree with that, as she says Mr. Esau could have found a way to get the paternity test over with since she was a kid, not when she clocked 33, and yeah, that's right.
6 months in life.
I've been throwing up every day. I have anxiety, I have stress. I have an autistic son that I'm trying to raise. I've been just, ever since, I can't eat, losing weight. I'm just torn apart.
This is the next level of hurt we are talking about. The memories, the good and bad days, the bond. Where does one begin? Ms. St. James' emotions in paternity court are so valid, but Mr. Esau is still not falling for all of that. Not even a teardrop is falling from Mr. Esau's eyes, despite Ms. St. James breaking down in court.
From the beginning, she transferred into the school that I was going to. I seen her that morning, and she looked good. So I'm like, well, everybody's kind of like, wow, who's that? And I asked her if she wanted to go to the party, and she said yes.
Mistakes made as teenagers are now affecting Miss St. James, who wasn't even present in the picture back then. Mr. Esau claims the pregnancy timeline didn't align with when Ham and Miss St. James' mother started having sexual relations, and that's how he figured how he's not Miss St. James' biological father.
A relationship with her mother because you all end up having her brother, KJ.
Right, later on, yes.
They got married after I was born.
How huge could the doubt have been?
Mr. Esau didn't have enough knowledge about the woman's body and how pregnancy works, which made him opt for seeking his mother's advice. Grandma is also in court, as she testifies the dates she saw didn't match, and that meant Ms. St. James's mother had been filled up by someone else, which resulted in her pregnancy.
Anything different that your father was not your sister's biological father?
Through my whole life, I thought that Jasmine was my sister. We were the only ones that came from my mom.
Miss St. James's younger brother also feels the same way his sister is feeling, as they both want to know why their father just decided to break the yoke when they are so grown, when he had many opportunities to do so when they were younger. Only Mr. Esau can answer that question.
He said it's the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life, and it's hard. I mean, it's never the right time. I always had, and I take full responsibility for that because I should have. And I've told her that many times, yes, I should have. Your mom should have. Your mom's gone, it was my responsibility. Yeah, and I should have.
Okay, the tough daddy finally lets his emotions out a little bit as he says there was never a right time to do it. Miss St. James being a daddy's girl meant Mr. Esau never meant to hurt her, but he just had to drop the excuses and put the truth out once and for all, and the DNA test result would help a whole lot to finalize it.
Case of St. James versus Esau. Mr. Esau, you are not the father.